Well, as we hit June, it seems that the great tomato crisis of May 2026 has been alleviated, at least for the moment, because on the shelves the last couple of days have been the most beautiful, if you can call it beautiful, the supermarket grade tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, those kinds of things. Those evangelical tomatoes, what do you call those ones? Luxury tomatoes. You know, those 100 Rand a kilogram sort of delicious tomatoes. I don't know where they come from, but this isn't a tomato. This is a lollipop from a kid's birthday party. I used to love these cherry, and the sticks these days, the engineering isn't good. So the sticks come out prematurely. And so you end up having to hold it like this. So there's something very nostalgic about sucking on a cherry. It's got sherbet on the inside. So, you know from the last video that I've been thinking about the tomatoes, amongst other things. But I've also been thinking about the seeds. And I ate some oranges today. Very delicious oranges, but of course, you quickly go, but where's all the seeds? There's no seeds. And so I've been thinking about coal, South Africa's coal production, in light of the fact that as much as we are taking Israel to court, to the ICJ, we are at the same time selling them coal. So apparently a very large percentage of Israel's coal purchases come from South Africa. And this actually emerged in 2025. There was a shift. Colombia decided that they were not going to sell coal to Israel anymore, as I understand it. And South African mining enterprises picked up the slack. So I did a little bit of research. And don't take it as authority. In fact, disbelieve everything that I'm saying now, please. It turns out that South Africa has a coal output that's valued at about $20 billion a year. 70% of it is kept for internal use and 30% gets exported. I arrived at the 20 billion a year output based on the fact that 50%, 46%, so almost 50% of our coal export goes to India, and the rest is then spread around the world. And whatever we produce, we sell, apparently. Now, there are five major mining companies that are producing coal in South Africa. Exxaro, Glencore, African Rainbow Minerals, perhaps our future president, Mr. Patrice Motsepe, and a couple of others that I can't remember. But let's say that there's about 5 major coal producers who are between them producing approximately $20 billion worth of coal each year. 70% stays here, primarily Eskom, and then 30% leaves the country, right? So, apparently, like approximately 10%, 8 to 10% of the Israeli power grid is powered by South African coal. So, of course, this has been an ongoing thought piece as to the incoherence of the ICJ on the one hand, but keeping 10% of their power grid going on the other hand. And one of the things that I was kind of thinking about, and I'm going to get to the seed thing in a second, is that it's not in the best interests of the political elite to use South African law, if they could. I'm not sure whether the legal experts out there. What are the mechanisms for the South African government to compel private enterprise in South Africa to cease and desist from having trade relations with certain entities, right? And if perhaps the future president of the country is one of those people who is behind selling coal to Israel, the likelihood that anybody is going to try and use those political levers that exist to compel people not to, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Political survival means that it's not going to be done. So, on the one hand, it's optically quite easy to go to court at the ICJ. And certainly it's the right thing to do, baby. But perhaps it's too dangerous to stop selling coal. And it's not like it's going to have, it might be a temporary economic problem, as there's a switch from that quantity of coal going to Israel as a client versus somebody else as a client, another country as a client, right? There is enough demand for coal, as I understand it. There's enough demand for coal. So not selling to Israel is not economic doom. It's not a huge economic risk because somebody else is going to pick up the tab, right? So the only reason that I can imagine in my small mind for them to continue doing it is that it's politically expedient, it's politically necessary if you want to maintain power. So selling coal to Israel while taking them to the International Court of Justice is a way of staying in power. Okay. Now, let's talk about seeds. It turns out, with regards to the great tomato crisis of May 2026, that Israel holds, again, please verify, holds the largest percentage of tomato seed IP on earth. And who's one of their biggest markets for selling tomato seeds? Mexico. Where does the tomato come from originally? Mexico, the Aztecs. Don't believe a word that I say. So Israel is selling coal to Newcastle. I think that should become the expression, selling tomato seeds to Mexico, right? Israel is selling tomato seeds to Mexico. Okay, the next one is that Israel is also quite deep into watermelon seeds. There was another seed. Oh yeah, oranges. Who is particularly famous for oranges? Palestine, the famous Jaffa orange. So Israel is holding on to a lot of IP for plants that have come from other parts of the world and is selling it back to them now. Okay, who else is big into this IP seed world? Bayer. Who's Monsanto owned by? Bayer. What are some of the most important laboratories for bioengineering in this kind of, what do you call this field? This kind of genetic modification, genetic research, the research in the laboratory, Israel. So it's so interesting to see this Columbian exchange in reverse almost, you know, that is happening at the moment. There was something else that I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to do it in a separate video. The algorithm tells me that I should do videos of a duration no longer than 3 minutes. That's the algorithm of Instagram. Interestingly, Twitter doesn't say a word, nor does Substack, nor does, or Facebook would say, because it is Instagram. So, but like Anthony, I'm not posting these videos to appease the algorithm. Anthony, this is purely archival. And I will acknowledge that I'm just absolutely copying Anthony. I'm just archiving my thoughts as I process what it is to be alive in 2026. I'm just processing my thoughts in real time.